The air was thick with tension on that fateful morning, June 6, 1944. As dawn broke over the beaches of Normandy, the sky was clouded with the rumble of planes and the eerie echo of distant artillery. The sun, barely peeking through the gloom, was not a harbinger of warmth, but a witness to one of humanity's most harrowing endeavors, the D-Day invasion. In these fleeting moments, the weight of history pressed down on both the Allied forces gathered at the edges of the English Channel and the German soldiers awaiting the onslaught. Sergeant James Reynolds, a dedicated paratrooper from the 101st Airborne Division, stood at the edge of a landing craft, the churn of seawater spraying against his fatigues. Inside the cramped vessel, the smell of vomit mixed with fear. Private First Class Timmy Dawson, just 18 and barely a veteran, gripped his rifle tightly, knuckles white as the boat rocked violently with the waves. The older soldiers around him offered what could only be consolation, half-hearted jokes and words of encouragement that rang hollow in the context of their perilous journey. Reynolds scanned the horizon, his heart pounding a rapid staccato in his chest. He was all too aware that their mission was about more than just geographical conquest. It was a fight for freedom, a battle to reclaim a world suffocated by tyranny. The enormity of the task weighed on him. Their mission was fraught with dangers. They had to breach the heavily fortified Atlantic Wall, a colossal barrier bristling with machine guns, mines, and artillery. "Stay sharp, kids," Reynolds muttered, his gaze hardening as he steeled himself for what lay ahead. "We're making history today." Just then, the order came to disembark. The ramp dropped, and chaos erupted. The crack of gunfire split the air, accompanied by shouts and the thundering sound of explosions. Soldiers poured out of the landing craft, some slipping on the slick sand, others falling prey to the barrage of bullets raining down from German positions atop the bluffs. In those first moments, the beach transformed into a hellscape, a surreal tableau of muddy sand, blood, and smoke. The beach, once a serene stretch of coastline, was now a chaotic blend of bravery and terror. Reynolds bolted from the craft, his heart racing as he sprinted for cover, knowing that each second counted. Timmy, wide-eyed and in a daze, followed closely behind, the weight of his rifle feeling heavier than ever. As they advanced under the shelter of a low dune, Reynolds caught a glimpse of the bigger picture the moment he dared to look back. The water was stained crimson with the casualties, the cost of freedom painted starkly against the horizon. He shook his head as if to dispel the sight. They had to press on. There would be no time to mourn. "Move up. We need to take that machine gun nest," Reynolds shouted, rallying the troops. The formidable enemy positions towered over them, ruthless sentinels of pain and suffering. The sand beneath his feet churned as they moved, desperation lending them the speed they so desperately needed. As they neared the nest, the crackle of gunfire intensified. In that chaos, Reynolds marveled at the courage of his men. There was Timmy, his youthful face streaked with sweat and dirt, barely keeping up, but refusing to falter. Reynolds couldn't help but feel paternal, an instinct ignited by the sight of someone so young in a war that felt timeless, an ancient dance of life and death. Just beyond the ridge, they paused to regroup. Reynolds leaned in, issuing orders as he rallied the remaining men. "On my mark," he instructed, heart pounding in his ears. "Chuck, you're on grenade duty. Timmy, keep your head down and aim for the shadows." The group nodded as one, and in that shared moment of adrenaline-fueled unity, time seemed to suspend, seizing a moment of clarity amidst downpour chaos. Reynolds knew they were bound together, intertwined by fate. With a swift gesture, Reynolds yelled, "Go!" In less than a heartbeat, Chuck hurled his grenade toward the enemy position. It landed squarely in the fortification, a blinding flash followed by an explosive roar that sent debris hurtling. For a fraction of a second, the world seemed to be rendered in slow motion. Men laid stiff, shrapnel scattered like confetti. Driven by instinct, they charged, leaping past the smoking remnants of the nest and launching themselves toward the emerging enemy. Timmy stumbled but managed to catch himself just in time. The exhilaration of their assault fueled a surge of adrenaline through Reynolds. They could win this fight. As they made their way through the flames and smoke, the first unwilling casualties became the backdrop of their advance. Reynolds shoved a German soldier aside, sending him crashing into the mud, oblivious to the weight of desperation on both of their shoulders. In that moment, it was not just a fight for victory, but a battle to uphold every principle he believed in. The chaos roiled around them as they pushed forward. Then came the realization. 2 of his men had not made it out. A sudden stillness enveloped Reynolds, a churning torrent of grief crashing against his resolve. But survival was a relentless teacher, and as gut-wrenching as the pain was, he knew it could not abide weakness. They would regroup, he reminded himself. This was not yet the end. Young Timmy, fueled by a mix of bravery and fear, was a few steps ahead. Reynolds could see him pivoting between bounds, rifle raised, but wavering under the weight of loss they had already endured. Suddenly a crack of gunfire sounded, a searing whistle that sliced through the air and pierced the chaos that swallowed them whole. Timmy dropped to the ground, a hue of disbelief washing over his once vibrant face. "No, Timmy!" Reynolds shouted, rushing forward as he scrambled to get to the fallen soldier. Every moment stretched like an eternity as Reynolds dove to tackle him to the safety of the embankment. "Stay with me, kid. Stay with me," he urged, cradling the young man's head in his hands. Timmy's breath came in haggard gasps, each one more labored than the last. The world around Reynolds dissolved into an agonizing hum, engulfed by the sounds of war that rang inconceivably far away. "We will get out of here, you hear me?" Reynolds encouraged, but as the blood flowed and Timmy's gaze began to weigh heavy, doubt slipped through the cracks of his facade. "We made it, Sarge," Timmy wheezed, a flicker of a smile breaking through the pain. In that fleeting moment of acceptance, Reynolds felt his heart clench painfully. "No, no, not like this. We're just getting started." But with those final words, the flicker of life dimmed, slipping through his fingers like grains of sand. Every ounce of laughter, ambition, every future dream washed away in a tide of tragedy. The air was shattered by a frantic scream that erupted from Reynolds' throat, a raw, animalistic wail that mingled with the cacophony of the battlefield. Time swirled chaotically around him as he felt his spirit fracture. His world had been irrevocably altered in moments. One moment he fought for transformation, resolution, and change. The next, his entire reason for fighting appeared to evaporate. Every ounce of conviction threatened to run awry, dissipated into the ether of loss. Yet just as despair began to bind his limbs, a primal instinct surged within him. Though the weight of his grief threatened to immobilize him, he left Timmy's body in a quiet corner of his heart, a sparkling shard now veiled in shadow. "For you, Timmy," Reynolds whispered, clenching his fist. The sound of warfare became more urgent, and as he rose from the visceral memory, he looked up to see his surviving squadmates staring back, their faces worn and gaunt but resolute. "I won't let it end here," Reynolds roared, raw emotion propelling him forward. The enemy still lurked ahead. Beyond the smoke and sand, other soldiers still fought, their fates intertwined with his. With renewed purpose, Reynolds stormed through the haze, leading his men in another charge toward their objective. They pressed onward, pushing up the beach and making headway against enemy forces, still fortified against the onslaught. Each shot fired was a tribute to Timmy, the fallen, and the countless sacrifices made before them. As the battle raged on, Reynolds maneuvered through enemy lines, the sights and sounds of barrage blaring a fervent symphony. Above them, the plains roared, the sky etched with powerful shadows of war. The beach became a landscape soaked in tenacity, each line drawn forging bonds deeper than blood. Finally, as they approached the enemy bunkers, Reynolds' men began to close ranks. They pulverized resistance as bursts of gunfire ripped through the air, a violent dialogue stirring the sands of Normandy. The clatter of grenades and the thudding of heavy artillery became the punctuation of their spirited resolve. In the heart of battle, Reynolds spotted a bunker where German soldiers were regrouping. He could sense it. This was where the tide would turn. "Here we go, boys," he shouted, infusing courage into their ranks, propelling his squad into one final push. With grenades in hand, they advanced together. The leap to victory felt exhilarating. The hand of fate seemed to squeeze them tighter, leading them into triumph. They exploded through the door of the bunker in one swift motion, each soldier rushing in with a heart full of purpose. The scene inside was chaos, with surprise on their side. The German soldiers scrambled to reposition themselves. In that moment of uncertainty, Reynolds surged forward, his weapon ready. The fight was short but fierce. Soon there was silence, a heavy stillness. Exhaustion cut through him as the echoes waned into a haunting hollow. As they emerged, the vastness of the beach lay sprawled before them, their enemy retreating as the tide of war finally turned toward freedom. But the victory rang hollow. The cost stood at their feet, scattered across the sands like broken dreams. Days turned into weeks, but the memories of D-Day haunted Reynolds, each face of the fallen engraved deep into his soul, particularly Timmy's. He battled with the residual sting of loss, forging the pain into what would become his lifelong legacy. In the flickering shadows of wartime, Reynolds drew upon the collective resilience-laden scars that would propel him into the future, a future where no soldier would ever be forgotten. As he took a step toward healing, he felt the warmth of camaraderie, of brotherhood shared in the flames of battle, pushing through the grief to carve a new chapter amidst the remnants of despair. Though victory warranted triumph, none would have promised ease.
They had prevailed in body, and over the ensuing months, he resolved to not let their spirits die in vain. Each sacrifice stoked a righteous fire that would unfurl through the world, a reminder of the countless souls that had given everything for the semblance of hope. No matter the trials that lay ahead in the war and beyond, Reynolds often felt the ghost of Timmy standing beside him, a quiet presence among the ranks of brothers in arms. He marched on, unwavering, through a tumultuous world, carrying forth a message of sacrifice, resilience till the very end.